welcome back to Studio 33 Art by Kay. I've been asked by a customer of mine, lovely lady called Glenda, to make one of these round placemats that she's going to use as a table centerpiece for to match with some coasters I made her quite some time ago, well over a year ago actually. So luckily, when I do my artworks, I always take photos of what paints I've used and I take a photo of the piece. So I was able to go back on my phone and find the actual coasters that I did for Glenda, and I'd also taken a photo of the paints I'd used, so I could see actually exactly the paints. So I've been able to go onto my shelf and just pick up those paints, make sure that they was still good, and I had to thicken a couple of them up, so that was fine. And I did a drip test on a piece of paper to make sure the consistencies were good, because some of them had been sitting on the shelf for quite some time. So if you've mixed up your paints with the Australian Floetrol, or probably the American Floetrol would be the same, but I haven't tried it, you can actually keep those paints for a long time, in fact years, and they should still be good in the bottles as long as they've been airtight. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. She would like me to do, it was a beach scene. I had the pebbles down the bottom, and then the other colours, the blues up the top, and I also actually added in a little bit of magnolia, a bit of pink in there. So that was a bit different for a straight beach scene. Probably at the time I was thinking more of a little bit of a sunset. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to duplicate what I had done. And so without further ado, I shall now lay down my paints. Now, as I say, this is a 38 centimetre wide placemat. I have covered the back, and I've made sure that I've gone around the very edge of it with a paddle pop stick and just rubbed it like this to make sure that it has stuck down well, because these boards, they were from Kmart in Australia, they've actually got cork backing on them, and it's a shame if your paint runs underneath your tape, and then, you know, it's very hard to get off. And I have had a situation where I had a bit of running underneath, and I had to get some more self-adhesive cork online to put a new backing on one of them, which of course ends up you know, doubling the price of your piece that you've made. So it's always better if you can make sure that the edges are good to start with. Okay, so I'm not going to lay down any base. I'm going to put down enough of the colours that I won't need to do that. I'll tell you what the colours are as I go, and I am going to use the Amsterdam Oxide Black cell activator as a cell activator. So, yep, without further ado, off I go. So the first colour I'm putting down is the Mont Satin Burnt Umber. I'm just going to do my beach just down the very bottom here. So I'm just going to do a chevron effect and then fill in the gaps. All of these paints have been mixed with Australian Floetrol, and this is the Eraldo de Paolo Metallic Silvery. So it helps to lighten up that burnt umber. And then I've made up a little custom colour, which is the burnt umber mixed with some of the Amsterdam Pearl White, just to make a lighter colour for my rocks. It's always so much harder to apply the paint when it's not in one of those squeezy bottles. Make sure I've got enough paint down, seeing as haven't got any base paint. You can use a base paint if you like, but if you're going to put enough paint, enough colours on, you don't necessarily need to do that. Just need to make sure you've got enough. Okay, now for my colours. Leave a little bit of a gap there at the moment. So this one is the Global Blue Lagoon, which is a beautiful aqua sort of colour, pale turquoise I guess you would say. Then the Global Metallic Cyan. Just trying to get it in different places to the other one. Actually, Darren from Venom Fluid Art has just done a ocean pour, if you'd like to watch his video. He's used a slightly different technique to what I'm doing, but it's a great video on ocean pours. This is the Mont Satin Ultramarine Blue. And next is the Eraldo di Paolo Metallic Ocean Blue. Whoops. You always seem to get much more paint on this side because that's where I'm starting each time. And now I'm going to lay down some of the pink. So this is the Metallic Magnolia, and I'm going to do it more up to the top, so it's like your beach, your ocean, and then a sunset. So it's just to give me a bit of a sunset effect up here. Okay. So I just want to lay down a bit more paint, make sure I've got all my gaps filled in. Might put a bit more of the silver on this one. Down here, I don't want my beach to be too dark. Make sure I've got enough to cover my edges. And bring that up into that transition there. And what other colours? I'll just bring a bit more of the Blue Lagoon. Just try and fill in some of these gaps. Not too bad actually, so I just wanted to put a little bit more of the metallic cyan. I like to get my metallics in there. Can't see too many big holes now though. Right. That's plenty of paint, so now I'm just going to let it tilt it a little bit just to get the paints to cover. Fill in all those gaps. So I don't want to move it too much. Just slowly tilting. Tilt it this way. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll just burst the bubbles. So I can see a few little gaps there, so I'm just going to use my gloved finger. I'm just going to finger pop those just to make sure the board is completely covered. And I also like to make sure that, my edges are really well covered too. so I don't have to worry about covering that later. Not too many holes there. Most of that pink is sinking and disappearing, which is fine. I didn't want too much in there. I might put a little bit more at the end there, just to make sure I can see that as my bit of my sunset. Okay, so that's all covered. Now make sure my edges are covered. And that's pretty much good to go. So we'll just burst some more bubbles that have come up. See one little bit that I missed there. Okay, so I'll add a little bit more of the metallic Magnolia. I want to make sure that we get that bit of a sunset going on up there. And now I'm just going to swipe over the whole thing with my Amsterdam Oxide Black cell activator, which has been mixed with Australian Floetrol, 1 part paint, 4 parts Floetrol. So which way do I want to swipe? Sideways? If I swipe sideways, it's better, because then I'm not going to be blending into this. If I bring all this paint down, it's going to completely cover my beach, and so then I won't have any beach. So I want to have to go sideways, which is the way the waves will be going anyway, because your waves will go sideways. So I think that'll work the best, going that way, and that will keep those separate. And yeah, the waves will go that way anyway. All right. I'm just going to use this little offset spatula that I've got. I find this quite good. I seem to have quite good control of that. So I'll just load up my little spatula here with my cell activator, about that much. And then over we go. I'll start going through about there, I think. Now I may run out of cell activator about halfway across, so I might load up again. We'll just see how it goes. Looks like I'm going okay. See what happens when you run out of the cell activator. It's very black at the beginning, and by the time you get over here, it's very smeary. So when I'm up here, and I've got a long way to go, I will stop halfway and then continue with a new lot. So just load up some more. Go across here. I might blow into that to get some cells to come up through there. Just lightly, just skim across the top. You don't want to drag the paint off. Missed that little bit there. Just do that little piece there. There we go. And now with this bigger part, I'll start from the top and come down. But when I'm going across here, it's so large, I'm going to put more cell activator on about halfway. But I'll gradiate it so that it's not a big line down the middle. I'll go sort of part over, and then, anyway, you'll understand when I start to do it. So I'm just going to do this top piece first. Oops, missed a bit. Cells are coming up beautifully. So now the next piece, I'll just go part of the way. I've missed that bit there, but I can come back to do that. So I've got to kind of angle it so I don't keep missing my edges. So I'll just come about that far. And put some fresh cell activator. Can't see me doing that, sorry. Hope I don't run out. And then I'm just going to pick that up again from there. And take it over. I'll just fix that little bit there before I go any further. And after I've done this, once it dries in a few days, about a week, I will use some resin, and I'll also create some waves with the resin, some white waves, some lacy waves. Now this one I don't want to stop and start at the same spot, so I'll come a bit further if I can. Don't want to start and stop in the same spot. I'll stop about there. And then start again. And will I get through with one there? It's probably going to end up being two there, I think. Probably shouldn't have started from the top. I should have started from here. That's okay, because I'll do a different line right there. So I'll just come up here. Because I'll do a different line where the two come in. So I'll just stop that one there. Looks like I'm going to have just the right amount of cell activator. Thank goodness for that. Okay, here we go again. Oops. Got to concentrate on keeping it level. Easier said than done. I'll just pick up that little bit. Oops. Doesn't want to be swiped. So now through here, I'll just do a little bit where those two come together. Do it sort of wavy. A little bit more. Great. Okay. Put that down before I spill it. Do up my bottles. So you can see where I had all that black up there, those cells have actually come through now, where it's just been sitting and waiting. So that's looking really nice. I've got to get a few more up here, so I'll just use my heat embossing tool. That might help to bring those up. And I'll just get out a straw and blow on that. Helps to bring the cells through as well. There's a few coming through. Rightio. Just let those sort of develop a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little wrecking line through it. I'm just going to use the flat end of the smaller skewer, although I think I might want a bigger one than that this time. I've got this, it's actually a chopstick, but it's got a bigger end to it. So I'm just going to do some wrecking lines. So far I've drizzled the paint, I've then swiped it, and now I'm going to wreck it with my skewer. These little bits have come up a little bit, but that'll be all right. Once I do my wrecking and spin it, it'll change that anyway. So where will I start? Up here somewhere. I like to get a nice circle going when I do a bit of a wreck. Love the lines that I get through. I love that sort of teardrop effect. I'll come over here. I want to break this up a little bit. So it's not truly an ocean pour, this one, because it's got the wrecking lines in it. It's just an abstract beach, really, because you wouldn't normally have the swells like this. If I'm doing a pure beach pour, I would just have lines going across, and then I'd do the resin with the waves in it. I'll just look for areas where I'd like to break up, like here. Just do a few little swirly bits. Another one here. I'll take that through that bit that I don't like. A little bit there that I don't like. I'll just do a little wreck there. Beautiful. So I suppose it still could be the ocean, couldn't it? Because, you know, you do get like little swirly bits in the ocean that where the water just sort of spins around. And so anyway, my interpretation. Very pretty so far. Break that line up a bit there. Don't want to overdo it. Says she, continuing to put more swirls in there. I think I'd like a little one just here, just rolling off like that. Alrighty, I think I've got enough swirls going on. So now I'm just going to spin that out. Not a lot, just enough. to enlarge the cells and the swirly bits. Just move all my stuff out of the way and slow spin. I don't like to spin it out too much because I like my swirls to sort of keep their shape. If you spin out a lot, as you can see here, this one's gone sort of really wavery, and so it's that there, which is fine, that's still part of it. But I do like when I'm doing blooms, I like the blooms to keep their shape. Same when I'm doing wrecking lines, I pretty much like them to keep their shape as well. I'm loving just that hint of the pink up here. It's just enough that it's sort of creating the idea of beach, ocean, and a little bit of a sunset up there. So I didn't want too much of the pink. Okay, I don't want to spin off too much more. So I might leave it just like that. So I'm just going to check my edges. I can see here the paint's pulled back a little bit from the edge here. So I'll just use my glove to pop some paint back on. Just like that. And my edges. Check all the edges. It's lovely how the paint's rolled off. As you can see how it's rolled off here where I've spun out. It's lovely. I really like it when it just rolls over the edge. And where it hasn't, I'll just pop it along. Just to make sure there is paint all the way along those edges there. Okay, make sure I'm happy with that. Would like a little bit more pink up here actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of the pink onto my mat here, like so. And then I'm just going to use this fine little skewer. And I'm just going to put a bit more into some of these. So I'm just going to add it in like this. And that's just going to bring that little bit of the sunset back in there. Because otherwise it's just really smeared in and it's not sort of showing up a lot. I'll do a bit of a run of it across here. Add a little bit up here and just run the skewer through. Just to get those little highlights. You can see it is still sinking again as well, so that's okay. I just want that little touch of it. You just do that and then just run your skewer through, and it kind of just gives this little split line there, which I think is really lovely. So if ever you're doing something and you've got one of the colours that doesn't sort of show through enough, this is what you can do. Just add it back in. That's probably enough just to bring those little hints in there. Are you happy with that, Kay? Nope, I want one little more here. Another little blob there. And then the pointy end through. Okay. And that will sink, I know, it's sinking, so that'll just get that little hint of that pink in there. I wish there was a little bit more of the brown in here. I might just put a few little blobs in there. Again, if you don't like it, just add it. Just adding some of the little dots of that little colour that I made up out of the burnt umber and the pearl white. Put a few more in here. Don't like all that black. And that's just where I started off with the black on my spatula, and a lot of it came off there, so I shall just fix it. Just little blobs in there, and they'll just mix in with the paint in the next few minutes and just look like little cells. Just anywhere where there's too much black, I'll just do that. Quite often when you use your straw to blow into it, the cells will come up, but I think there was just too much black and it just buried it. Okay. And a little bit here as well. I might just pinch a bit of colour from there. A little bit of that blue. Just add that in there. Get rid of that black patch. And a little bit up there. Can't see any major other patches that need any more colour put into them. Okay, that's it. Just straighten this line up a little bit. Every time I say that's it, then I do something else. That line's okay, I like that, like that. All of those, that one I like as well. I mean, you can stand here and fiddle for hours, but I'm not going to. It's actually got a bit of a blob of something in there. See if I can drag that all the way off. Bit of a lump of paint, I think it was. Fix that up. Okay, all good. Right, so I will come back in a few days and I will resin this, and I'll show you what I do when I resin it. So just, oops, there's a little patch here that's got no cells, so I'm just going to do a little like that. There you go. Fixed. Perfect. Okay, I'll bring you down for a close-up. Here we are coming down for a close-up. I'm really happy with this piece. Loving this beach area here, where I've done that wrecking line, bringing the water just through there, and where I've just added these few little cells where I had too much black. I just dabbed in some colour into the black there. Got rid of that where I'd started my swipe and there was too much black on the spatula. Actually not too much because I had to drag it all the way. So I needed that much on, and I just added this little one in here, this one here, because that was where I'd stopped and then started the swipe again, and there was a line there and I didn't like it, so I just added that little wrecking line after I'd switched off the camera. So there's beautiful cells, lovely little bit of pink just going through here, and where I've added that little bit in there for my little hint of a sunset. Most of those pink lines are kind of disappearing, although there's a few there, just that little bit, just to add that little bit of pink in, a little bit showing through just here as well. And my wrecking lines. The cells have turned out nice. And that beautiful blue lagoon here, lovely aqua colour. Yeah, so I'm very happy with that. I'm sure it will dry nicely and it will look fabulous when I've got a coat of resin on it with some nice glitter. And also I'll just do a little bit of ocean wave, not a lot though, because the coasters that I didn't have the ocean waves, but because this is a bigger piece, I kind of feel like it lends itself to having those ocean waves, so I will do just a couple through there. Okay, so we'll see you back here in Studio 33 in the not too distant future, and I'll do a separate video on the resining of this. See you soon. Bye bye.